record. Okay, this always takes a few minutes.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good to see you, Carol. Nice.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. And I'm really looking forward to more meetups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was good. Such a great energy in Rourke's house.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Good crew. And like you said, there's a lot to be, a lot of energy there. And I go, okay, there's a lot of energy kind of like in a lot of places, but I think there was stuff to learn and discuss and dig out, which I think would be, really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite excited by that.
Me too.
It's very exciting. So what are we waiting for? Facebook Live, or are we live, or are we going?
We're just waiting for Facebook Live, but this is recording, so this will be
okay.
On. I'll upload it to YouTube over the next couple of days.
Okay. I seem to know when I sort of like will just do my bit. It won't be much different, to be honest. Just be
just I know. I'm
aware that I'm looking at a thing, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm the same.
Oh, so yeah, you let me know when we kind of like want to go, and I'll do the usual kind of highs.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Facebook. It always seems to take a while.
I don't do stuff on there as far as live. I don't know why. Maybe I will at some point. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so we are live on Facebook, and I would like to welcome everyone to the Cosmic Ascension, Waves of Light, and thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Carol Noonan. We have a Facebook group, The Great Awakening of Humanity 2020. Today's date is the 4th of October 2020, and what a year it's been so far. Our guest today is Joff Talbot, who lives in the UK, and he also has his own radio show, which I believe is based in Canada. So welcome, Joff. How are you doing?
Yeah, really well. Thanks for having me, Carol. Hey, folks. Normally I do the radio thing, so you don't have to see like my front room and a face. So, and you know, you look all pretty and stuff, Carol. So maybe I should have, I don't know.
You should have seen me earlier.
I should have put some lippy on or something, you know.
I was looking at some of your photos on Facebook.
Oh, don't do that. Really? The many faces of Joff. Yeah, I haven't posted a few things up there, right? So not of late, really. But yeah, but people will, you know, tag you and put you on this, that, and the other throughout the years. But yeah, why? What did you glean from the photos that are up there, Carol? Before I drop myself in it,
just that you really enjoy fancy dress parties and dressing up and Halloween and all that kind of stuff.
What were you looking at?
Your Facebook page.
Oh, were you looking at the elf thing by any chance?
No, I didn't see that. But now you mention it, I'll go and have a look.
Anyway, that was a work thing, and I'll get into that. I'll do a bit of background, because it'll only be fair for people. Otherwise, they'll be going, "What, an elf?" Like, I am quite small in stature, but not quite elf-sized, you know. But go on.
No, I was just going to say, for people that are watching, would you, now that we've mentioned it already, would you like to share your Facebook page with people if people want to connect with you? Because I know that you're really awake, aware, and conscious. And then I just want to introduce Jeff and how we met. We actually met at a Connecting Consciousness meetup, which is done through Simon Parkes and Connecting Consciousness. So anyone who's joined that and hasn't had a physical meetup, please do go and join, because it's really great to meet like-minded people, especially at these times we're in. So Jeff, yeah, what was your Facebook? If you want to share it.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you'll find me at Joff Talbot, not Jeff Talbot. But you might find somebody else at Jeff Talbot. I don't know who that is, but yeah, so it's Joff, JOFF TALBOT. And however, you're welcome to send things through there at the same time. And that's a kind of personal site, and you won't find anything that's really to do with like my work on there necessarily. However, when I am feeling awake and aware and on it, I'll get way more an introduction probably in a second. Then I will be a little bit more on the Facebook scene, and you can find me at LifeWise. That's LIFEWISE, all one word, collective. So feel free to have a little peruse on there. I'm actually quite lazy, and that was one of the most recent things I kind of done, in all honesty. You're better off finding me at the website, which is www.lifewisecollective.com. And feel free to have a little peruse around there, see kind of what takes your fancy, and feel free to get in touch with anything that you see on there. I do have a radio show also, but what I think I will do, I will highlight, shall I do a bit of introduction on me, life-wise, Carol? I think it might be a bit sort of fair for your audience, and then obviously kind of how we met and that kind of thing, and then we can kind of go from there. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm Joff Talbot, hello. And right, so I'm a paid youth worker. I'm a youth manager for a place in Luton in England. My workplace is called Tocco Youth Space, where again I'm a youth manager there. So what we do there is work with young people, typically 13 up to about 25, but we work with lots of people either side of that, in all honesty, but that's our general kind of age range. We create lots of opportunities for young people. Let's pretend this whole COVID thing didn't happen. This is the way it works. Where we would create opportunities for young people. So that's projects that we create, plus we work with young people, so they have a voice, of course. You know, it's user-led and fed, actually. So if young people have an idea of what they might want to do and get into, then we create projects based on their say as well, so their feedback and all that good stuff. Lots of group work, lots of one-to-one work, disability group counselling. It's a big £5 million building, so it's it's a good spot, really good spot. Luton's a bit of a sort of troubled, targeted area, and so whilst the place is a little bit Wild West sometimes, the youth work there is immense because people could really do with it. So we've been there for 7 years and it's fantastic. So the reason why I'm mentioning that at this point is over the last, long time, but I'll narrow it down to about 5-ish years. I've been noticing like a trend of the supporting systems for young people, statutory services. Basically, it would seem not in a position to be able to do what they say they do. And we've been noticing way more of a fallout. So a lot more higher need throughout the years. And it's been pretty crazy to watch, in all honesty. So I created a project called LifeWise. Largely that was due to my experiences out of the workplace. So I had a bit of a awakening experience. I really don't know what to call it. I'd love for people to send in a message, go, oh, me too, because I don't know. I don't have a name for these things. It's just I bumped into names and it kind of seems to marry up. So awakening, what else would you want to call it? I don't know. I like calling it like a spiritual push. And this was back in 2013. Later half of the year, and I was kind of propelled into a crazy world of a lot of research. So I never really used to read books, really, maybe the odd skate magazine or something, or surfing, but not much. And then suddenly in the space of about, I don't know, a little bit of time, not much, well, there's then ended up a lot going in. But that's through every medium possible. So I bumped into Gaia TV. That was a really good resource, actually, put me in touch with some really interesting people, and got into some extremely interesting subject matters. But then there's podcasts, Awakening to Conscious Co-Creation. So it's a bit old now, actually, but that was with a guy called Peter Tung, and it was amazing. That's where I first bumped into Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, and other such wonderful folk, Lynn McTaggart, yay Lynn. And from there, let's just say the world just went crazy learning, but I was taking so much in that I needed a place to put it all down, because, to be honest, I was kind of annoying my girlfriend around me, and who do you talk to? It feels like you're just kind of shooting from the hip with all this information. It's kind of crazy. So I needed to sit with it, digest it, and I didn't want to kind of forget things. And I'm always writing things down as well. So I was noticing synchronicities that were happening to me at the same time, taking on lots of information, but I was working with this information, not just reading it, putting it into an intellectual space and going, okay, great, that's that. I was bumping into some ridiculous scenarios that were making me think, okay, well, I need to actually either have a chat with the people who are saying what they're saying, or I need to follow this up myself, and see if a lot of the things I was bumping into was actually possible. And what I mean by this is then energy healing, telekinesis, telepathy, remote viewing.
And were these experiences that you were having?
Not necessarily. It wasn't like I was suddenly downloaded with superpowers or anything. My firm belief already is that we are all that we ever want to be. To be honest, I was just bumping into more information that was highlighting that, and here's how in their own way. And so I got into energy healing at quite an early stage in that, because the big thing was that I actually got to ask the universe, or get an idea of what that even means, because ask the universe, right, it's quite a big thing. So what do? There's no doorbell. So it was just a case of, right, so I wanted to know more about energy healing. And so I thought, okay, well, what I would love, universe, if you could drop me something that is in the realms of me that I would be able to understand, that didn't really require a wand and a cape and me having to kind of say this, that, and the other, and put, lay diagrams out. That wasn't going to be me ever, really. And I'm not bagging anyone that does. I'm just not that makeup. I like to think that I'm energetically kind of quite dense, the average person. However, the complete opposite is in play at the same time. There seems to be an earth me and a other, and that's always been at play. I've just now been firmly shoved into other, having kind of mastered the kind of earth me. That's all right. Knowing that you can't really fully master it, it's forever changing, and I'm happy with that. It's good. So really, what I asked for was, okay, the energy healing thing, how does that really work? And does it work? And can someone like me, anyone, do this? And so then literally about a week later, I'm listening to a podcast, walking down to work, and on pops on Richard Gordon, who's the founder of Quantum Touch Energy Healing, basically saying, well, anyone can do it, you just put your hands, wherever the place is, so, over their head, either way, either side, and it's the breathing. It's certain breathing patterns that keeps that chi, prana, life force flowing. And I was like, well, okay, that sounds like you know, that's worth a go. So I just learned about it first of all after being really inspired by someone who's actually made it tangible to the average person. And so yeah, after a couple of years training, maybe a little bit more than that, and working on a lot of people, I've been a practitioner in quantum touch for about 2 years now. I worked on a lot of people, and it's very effective. And I was doing that for money and helping people out as well at the same time. And now, to be honest, I just do it all for free as and when, you know, if people kind of want the odd session, and I'm happy to help remotely, because it just so happens that that's very effective too. So if people would like, then just drop me an email, you know, and when I can, I do work with people.
Yeah. What is your email, Joff, for our viewers listening?
It's a really good point. Yeah, it's all on the website anyway. But so it's Joff, JOFF @lifewisecollective.com.
Okay, and I will put all the links up on to the YouTube description box as well. Yeah, so there's so much to talk about.
There's heaps. I don't know. I'll just keep on. But how about you chuck me a question, Carol? I think that's only fair.
Well, I did write down some notes, and I wrote down UFOs and disclosure and real UFO sightings, because I know, well, I believe there's going to be fake UFO sightings as well as real ones, and I think it's going to be quite hard to distinguish between the two, what's real and what's fake. The real ones don't really tend to get shown on the media at the moment, on the telly. I was told, actually, back in when COVID kicked off, because for the viewers listening, I'm a channel for the Pleiadians, and so I downloaded information when COVID kicked off. I went into the garden and channeled them, and one of the things they told me is that there will be an influx of real UFO sightings around the world that won't be shown on the media, on television or anything. So but I've also heard separately that there will be a planned UFO landings or sightings, which will be fake. So, and there has been, actually, when the Pleiadians told me that as well, there has been a lot of footage on Facebook alone since February around the Earth, where people are recording UFOs, and I don't know if all of it is genuine, but it certainly looks genuine. So what's your take on UFOs, Joff? Have you ever had an experience or seen anything?
Yes. So my take, I mean, first of all, it's probably good to sort of like class whether you believe that's a thing. So therefore, are we alone or not? And I'm firmly in the camp of no. No. And so, could there be craft and such? Well, clearly. So I know that. So I've seen something that I couldn't really explain. At the same time, like I said, I try and keep it as real as possible. And so, knowing the scenario, what I saw, I was lying on my bed, so it's on the side, and I just caught what seemed a silver ball, just basically hurtling through the sky, way quicker than a plane, but it was over so quick. I don't know kind of where you put that, in all honesty. So I don't know. My younger brothers had some really interesting experiences, and he's got a condition himself anyway, so I think that has the ability to make one a bit more open, a bit more of a contact there as well, potentially. So I have, but not enough for me to gauge.
Sorry, Joff, I was just going to ask, what kind of condition does he have? Because that also might help viewers as well.
Yeah, indeed. So he's been dealing with schizophrenia for
a
long time.
Now that's interesting, because my understanding of schizophrenia is completely different to the medical diagnosis. Where
What's yours then?
Well, I believe that, and I really do believe it through my shamanic training, that schizophrenia. So you've got mediums and you've got schizophrenia. Mediums work with the light, and the schizophrenia is misunderstood and misdiagnosed, in my opinion. This is just my opinion.
Oh no, it's fascinating.
But I know it is, where negative spirit has attached to them, and they don't have the understanding or the knowledge or they don't have any foundation of mediumship. So they just are hearing these negative voices, which in my belief, and it's just my belief, that it's negative spirit. So you've got schizophrenia, and then you've got mediums. It's the same thing, except mediums are so experienced and used to it that they understand it and they research it, and they, you know, mediums often grow up with spirit as a child. Whereas schizophrenia is kind of negative spirit talking to them. So that's my understanding.
Yeah, do you know what? I kind of rate what you're saying there, to be honest, because that sits really pretty true. There's nothing kind of overly nice about any of the things that he hears. None of it's nice, and so therefore it's a case of living with, dealing. Then there's sort of like trying to find, obviously in the realm of meds and Western science, well, it's chemicals mostly, and the surgery, great when it's great, and not so when it's the only way we tend to really go. But at the same time, there's that part of finding that balance there. So when the meds don't work, well, it's horrific, and when they do, well, in actually a far better place. So but I'm with you. Are we inaccurate on this? Yeah, I'd say we're well out on this. So does that then is there then at play the conversation to have then, are people like this able to be, are they more sensitive to, are they more tapped in by others? And I'm with you, to be honest. I never really wholly put my hat kind of anywhere, because I think that's a kind of for me, you really got to back that up and defend that. So you really better know what you're talking about. At the same time, I admire what you're saying there, to be honest. Yeah.
And I've come across quite a few over the years. You know, I've met quite a few schizophrenics, and I've all seen them as having like a dark aura around them, which I don't think is their aura. I think it's the energies that are, or energy that is attached to them. It's almost like a cloak of dark energy around them. And sometimes, and sometimes it will bring depression as well. Which also I've seen that a wave of depression coming at you is not your energy, because it's a wave of energy coming at you. In the form of depression, because it will bring you down. And I think that is can be negative energy, maybe not negative spirit, but definitely negative energy coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point when are such people due a bit of a break? you know, are they earning their stripes here? You know, is that here and now? Is that taken advantage of? You know, that's actually rolls into the same sort of thing. But from where LifeWise comes from, which is entirely where I come from, you know, LifeWise isn't like a made up thing and, oh, let's do this. It's a consciousness education platform is what it is. So what I do is try and learn from, learn from experiences that I'm having, join the dots, and then obviously that involves lots of other people. And my brother and I have always been really close as far as the understanding of the misunderstanding of the whole experience that he's kind of going through, where my whole makeup is completely the opposite. It's all positive. Well, it seems to have very solid positive foundations, which is actually why it's been really interesting delving into the dark side of, I don't know, there's different rabbit holes to go down, to be honest. But when I was kind of propelled into this spiritual, heavily propelled into it, then I seemed to kind of go down two rabbit holes at the same time, really. One that was extremely positive and, you know, rainbow body and that what are we made of, you know, then we going really doing the homework on that. I'm very happy with where I've gone with that. And then there's the other side of, well, this is what we're living in, this is what we're sitting in, that's what's been created over the last however many thousands of years. However, of lots of this, the train seems to have finished and it's end of the line, all change please, you know, and it seems to be, okay, well, we're at a strange juncture where lots of things are coming into play. And so I need to be careful not to sort of dot all over the map with this one, Carol, because I'm with you. I mean, we go from UFO and sightings to sensitives. I don't pride myself in anything, but I like that I'm hopefully a kind of a translator for people who don't really have these experiences as such, yet they're all around us at all times. And actually, when you investigate or invest a little bit of your time and energies, you'll find that as soon as you scratch underneath your own surface, that's it. Like, if you choose to, you've now opened your eyes to the 98% of things that you can't see. And the 2% suddenly is, well, it's here, you know, that's nice. But the rest of it is all up for grabs. And you find that different experiences completely just, wow, they just ramp up a lot, which then makes a lot of sense with people with schizophrenia and other such situations. Yeah, we'll be a bit more on the sensitive side of things. I mean, they live down the south coast, and he was actually, there was a dolphin as well a couple of years back that just wanted to hang around him, which was fascinating as well, because that doesn't really happen down the south coast down here, old Bognor. So yeah, he's had some really, really cool, exciting things, but it's hard to link some of this stuff together. So when it comes to psychosis and situations, is how we do it in the West helping? Yeah, a little bit. Is it doing actually more harm than good? Quite possibly, actually. You know, there's some really good shamanic work that gets done there. There's psilocybin, you know, there's all manner of hallucinogens that have like really helped, psychotropics even, sorry, which really deserve their look in. The homework's already done, you know, Terence McKenna, you've got some amazing people out there who've already done all this work. So yeah, we shall see, hopefully, in this brave new world. We should try and, you know, head in some more intelligent directions, hopefully. So yeah, he's seen more UFO sightings than what I would. I mean, at the same time, I know earlier this year there was 800 sightings in India, like within like a week.
When was that?
That was, I don't know, probably about March. Yeah, around March. Yeah. I want to say around sort of February, March, but I might be a little bit early on that, but around there anyway. Okay. You can do a little bit of research on that one. At the same time, I'm with you. I don't know ultimately what is fake and what is not. Do we have the technology to beam whatever we want in the skies? Yeah, of course. That's all well and there. Do UFOs have all the flashing lights and this, that, and the other? Maybe, you know, it seems a very kind of human-y thing to me, in all honesty, sort of like the lights doing their thing. I believe these craft will communicate on a far more etheric, personal kind of realm, only to be shown to people who could actually deal with that, really. So is it something for everyone? I think if it's something for everyone, then chances are it's probably not real. You know, I believe it's way more of a personal experience, because I've got like some night vision goggles, this, that, and the other. So I've been out and looked like loads, but never seen anything real. I've seen some very bizarre things, but not like a shooting UFO, for example. But I've seen some very odd things. Like one experience I had was looking into these things, and it was like dust. In all honesty, that's what I thought I was looking at. Oh, it's just kind of like dust. But it's almost like I was looking in a petri dish. This dust was doing its own thing, and it was fascinating. And I didn't really understand it. I still really kind of don't. They were kind of translucent. There was nothing. There were no legs or anything like this. They were just like little specks, like tiny orbs, maybe. But there was a seeming intelligence there. But I've just thought of something, if I may.
Yeah, please do.
Which is kind of linked. Before my son was born.
But going back to the other experience, was that through a telescope?
I'll write this down. Sorry?
Was that through a telescope, the other?
No. There's some night vision goggles, basically. Okay. So it's like a monocle, not a monocle.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
A monocular, sorry. Yeah. And yeah, a really, really cool piece of kit. I mean, yeah, it's not cheap and it's good at what it does. But I think something that was a bit more tangible and real for me was meditation. I said before my son was born, literally just as my girlfriend was like fully pregnant. So I'm meditating in my bedroom, and I noticed a gold orb that came through the door. The door was like ajar. It's almost like it let itself in through the door, and it was about the size of a tennis ball. There's a gold orb, probably about 12 feet away from me, and it was just right in front. And I said, "Oh, hey, Tommy." And this is like before he was here, and then that ball.
So you knew what he was going to be called.
It would seem so. This is kind of what I like watching about behind the thinker, of watching a human do what a human does. And I know that this is a persona, a mask, a thing, the earth get up, of which I'm grateful for, and it's an amazing vehicle to look after it. But it's not, the whole by any means. So when, Joff has this experience, then I'm able to look at it from another perspective and go, oh, it's one of those. It's a thing. And that I find fascinating. And that actually has been the core for me, for my learning since 2013, in all honesty. It's being able to watch this go through that journey. Crazy. It's like there's a far higher intelligence already at play watching this thing roll out, which is amazing. So anyway, yeah, you said, did I know he was going to be called that at the time? No. We played around with names and stuff. We hadn't settled on anything. But it was at that moment, and that gold orb just went up through the ceiling, and that was that. So I said, well, I guess we'll see each other soon. And
you just knew it was your son. You just knew.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that. Yeah, it's very bizarre. Very, and linking to that, actually, I'm sorry to go kind of like all over the map, but it's interesting about the intuition side of things, because then it does link to the UFO sightings and what we're saying about that sensitivity. Is that apparently when I was born in sunny Basingstoke in the UK, that the moment I popped out of my mum, a blackbird came flying through the window. And I didn't know this at all. In fact, I should have told you that bit last, because when my nan passed away, maybe about 70-ish years ago now, roughly, for whatever reason, there's a blackbird that landed in my garden as I'm just washing the dishes or what have you. And I said, "Oh, hey, Nan." And I don't normally name animals, especially not wild animals that just kind of fly into the garden or what have you. So I found it bizarre that I had named a blackbird my Nan. I went, "Hey, Nan." And since then, that's just been a thing. And I mentioned this to my mum, and then she told me the story about when I was born. And it's only just a blackbird, which I say that with my Nan. So then my mum tells me about, oh, how this blackbird came through the window the moment you were born. And it's just like, oh, okay. I don't know where to put all these things. All I know is that there's dots that get joined. I'm watching myself unravel a thing, and I go, oh, it's so bizarre, in a really good way. And then I play with this in meditation, in learning skills that are not in the mundane life as such. So yeah.
Wow. There seems to be a link between the psychic and the mediumship and spirit and UFOs, and other experiences like you were talking about just now with blackbirds and with orbs and a lot of esoteric stuff. And I think it's all kind of subcategories, and it all comes back into being a starseed, where we are not from here. And I do believe you are a starseed, where we're not from here, and we've come in, we've been contracted in, we've contracted ourselves, we've made an agreement with our soul families who are not from here. For like, I'm from the Pleiades, or my soul family is from the Pleiades. So we contract ourselves to be here at this time on Earth now, because of the great awakening of humanity and everything that's going on. We're here for this time on Earth. But there is a link between, I believe there's a link between the psychic and the medium and the healing and the intuition and the experiences with orbs and spirit and psychic and medium and all the different things, and including UFOs, because we are starseeds. But I think also anyone who does have a personal experience with a UFO, I believe they are starseeds, and they're seeing that. They're having that experience because our family, our star family, is wanting to wake us up. And it's not even about waking up, it's about remembering who we are and where we came from. So that would be my perception on it.
I'd largely agree with that. I think the overarching message seems to be waking up, and it's such a cliche term at the moment, but actually it's spot on, to be honest. Get off your sofa, those who are, and those who have noticed something else bubbling and happening, investigate it, because that is you. And this isn't the, it's such a strange thing. These are times where we're required, I feel, to step into this being. I don't ultimately know why. I don't get channeled anything. All I've done is wonder why I went through a rather strange experience that hasn't ever finished. I cannot tell you the amount of research that I've done over the last 6-7 years. It's insane, and it never ends. And that's unusual. And so there's definite parts of that experience that I go back and I go, well, what was that kind of about? What was the time period? And for me, anything between sort of 2000 and, those markers, say especially of 2012, but numerologically speaking, anyone coming in, after 1999 is going to be 2000, and there's a fundamental change of being in the person of anyone coming through next. So there's already a huge step up. And for those who are kind of feeling this, then to kind of go along with that ride as well, because you're not supposed to know everything. You're supposed to kind of get it along the way.
Yeah.
Just don't be too worried about not understanding everything, but know that stuff is coming at you from all sides. So for me, it's largely the Buddha's way anyway, the middle way. And I don't mean that in a religious sense. He'd say the same thing himself anyway, as far as Shakyamuni Buddha was concerned, is no, it's like a spiritual investigation, in all honesty. And the key seems to be balance, and do it in your way that makes sense to you, on the back of course, hearing and seeing information from others. You discern that, you take in what is important to you, use that, discard anything else, because now you're learning about your sensitivity, stepping up into yourself as this sovereign being, and walking into yourself, knowing already that you are already enlightenment, you are already that. You're just getting rid of the layers of stuff that has been just holding you back, kind of thing. I call it chopping off the dead wood, just getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. And you don't have to have any mass ceremonies for this, but to be honest, it's good to actually do, and do in meditation.
I think it's so important that I think it's so important what you're talking about, Joff, because I think that we're going through that collectively on a mass scale at the moment, where things that we've learned and been taught in schools about science and history, and you know, it's the very opposite is true. So we really need to let go of that. Really need to let go of it. And I actually didn't have any secondary schooling education, which I now see as a positive thing. So I wasn't manipulated or dumbed down in the same way, not to the same extent, because the Pleiadians actually kept me out of the school system. But yeah, what you're saying is crucial at the moment. We really need to chop off the dead wood and unlearn and let go of things that we've been taught, like science and all the rest of it. One thing I was thinking about when you were talking just now was some of the giant skulls that have been found, and proved, you know, that these are real beings that lived and walked the earth. So anyone wanting to research that, do go ahead. And I don't know if you know anything about them. Have you researched them?
Yeah, I do. I know there's X amount. I think it's 12. And yeah, and they're able to, and people are able to channel and get messages from.
Not the crystal skulls, Joff, but the physical skulls, the giants.
Oh, yeah, go on. No, because I was on something different, but go on. Yeah,
sorry, no, I meant to say giant skulls and skeletons. But
oh, sure. So all the stuff the Smithsonian sort of came in and chucked over the ships. Get rid of that.
Yes, yeah, quick, Harry.
Well, they forgot to name the Giant's Causeway, Long Barrow. Yeah. You know, go to Sicily, you'll see all the stuff still there. You know, you can go to most places actually, and you'll find like evidence. And yeah, that's yeah. But then you got the stories of people digging up these things and going, wow, look, we found this thing, you know, who do we tell? You know, we better tell someone in authority, hadn't we? Okay, yeah, cool. Then you tell the authorities, great, well done, smashing, right, we'll come down, right, we'll just take it for, well, forever,
research.
Clearly. Yeah, research, might get it back, you might not, okay, you're off 2 seconds later and you've never seen it again. However, Klaus Donner, oh, wow, he's someone. I was hoping I would look behind me and just go, wah, 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 wah. But He's a great guy, German guy, Klaus Donner, a bit like Michael Cremo, who do some amazing work in this direction, which stumps anyone, you know, mainstream or not. And you got these rocks that glow up, look like they've been sort of like fluorescent painted and stuff. There's no paint on there. And it, poor, and many, many, many more. And it goes into those, that, as in like the giants realms of things as well. Fascinating. So yeah, before I end up going down yet another tangent, I'm with you on the giant skulls thing, and bodies and elongated skulls, and then how those messages translate down to us. Fascinating.
Yeah, I've got so many questions for you. What is your most, I'm going to go and get something in a minute to show you. I found a little stone a couple of weeks ago, but when you feel it, it feels like it's been engraved. I picked it up on the beach in Portsmouth. So I'll go and get it in a minute, but I wanted to ask you so I know that you've researched a lot of subjects, esoteric and spiritual and phenomena and all kinds of things, but what interests you most?
The ultimate thing is that we are and we aren't here at the same time. So holographic universe, so the holographic model of us, fractal, the one, us being source, not being a part of source, we are source, just different translations of the same thing, that we are light, which is information, that you try and investigate the self, and at any point the whole thing disappears. You know, there's the scientists will call it oh yeah, what was it called? Nasty infinity. That's a genuine term. I died when I heard that. Nasty infinity, right? Like, why'd you have to call it that for starters? Yeah, it's just when things get so big that there's not actually a name for it anymore, and so we'll just call it nasty infinity. It's a bit like junk, Dean. A junk, who knows? We don't know. Must be junk. And it's like, you're insane. And so you ask me ultimately what gets me. I'll try and make it real simple. It's the paradox. It's knowing how we are so singular, yet the absolute opposite is at play at all times. And it does my actual nut in, because we are all living our earth life. And I know on repeat, Lord knows how many times throughout the day where I go, nah, not the case. And it keeps coming in, keeps more so recently. So that's my kind of big one, and the thing that keeps me actually sane in this realm, because it describes it absolutely perfectly as far as I'm concerned, is Dzogchen and the natural great perfection. That's the only thing that actually answers the vastness of all spontaneous, liberational, good stuff. That is what we are, and that fully lights me up, because it actually really, really helps me, stops me from having to blabber on too long. I can actually learn something from others who have done this work already, which I really need, because the subjects are vast and exceptionally detailed, so I have to be kind of careful, actually. And helping, to be honest, there's the part of me that is, well, that's the very, very, very broad, stunning picture, when actually the rest of me is, well, lighten up, look after each other, be nice. We're all after pretty much the same thing, which is happiness, our version of comfort and excitement and adventure. And by far the majority wants to look out for each other. You know, how we got in this mess. I would say something stupid like, oh, we'll never know. No, we do know, actually. We know very, very well how this whole thing has been orchestrated over the last 7,000-ish years.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that positivity, and actually unwaveringly so. And now's the time for that powerful yin energy in all things to step up. I mean that in a beautiful way. And that's the wake up thing for me, in all honesty.
Yeah, maybe we could really get into that a little bit about, because I believe that the time we're in now it's the great awakening of humanity. It's a new dawn. It's pivotal. It's biblical. It's just amazing times. But there is, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn. But I believe that we've got great times ahead on Earth, and I've been shown that there will be, and I heard it the other day by Dr. Stephen Greer as well, and I thought, yeah, he's just put into words what I've been feeling and thinking and seeing and getting, and I wasn't able to hadn't processed it enough to be able to verbalize it. But what I was seeing is that we are actually going into a time where we are going to be living and communicating and traveling in a planetary system. So beings like the Pleiadians and Sirius and are going to come to light and show themselves, and we're going to be living in a universe where we're able to travel and communicate like we go to America, or we travel to different places. That's coming for us. If we can, and I do believe that we will be doing it, if we can sustain our frequency, our vibration of love and light and who we are and where we came from, because that at the moment is crucial. The love light, the God essence, the Jesus energy within us, the spark, the flame of what does Sasha Storm call it? The Atman of who we are, and our
Atman,
the divine spark within us. If we can just step into that and let go of the bullshit that we've been taught in schools and universities and God knows where else, that we are powerless, and the very opposite is true.
But we seem to be kind of like doing this on our own. I mean, people like yourself, or channels, mediums, remote viewers, people who have these experiences, well, they happen all the time, but they don't happen to everyone all the time. And so the peoples who in the main are having to relearn, well, there's no one to tell them what that is. So not to say no one, that's a really dumb thing to say. However, they're definitely not in the main, and that's not what's being celebrated. So we've been down the wrong road, generation on generation on generation, for a long time. So I don't think it's suddenly, you know, get given this opportunity and people start turning around and going, oh, great, I see the light. It's like no. There needs to be, in my view, we're so far down that line that I believe we're seeing it now as well, because I've been really waiting for some actual solid signs that make me go, no, this is definitely happening. What you're explaining, and especially of late this year at 2020. So people kind of need to know whether it's worth the utter upheaval in the mind to want to readjust to something that's actually for their benefit, when they've been told all the way along, we're here for you. No, you're not. Except people get used to the understanding that, well, as long as I do my bit, these people are so far away from me that I vote for these people that I don't know, and then they don't do what they say they were going to do, and that's okay. And it's like, oh my God, like, really? And then this is kind of like the way it gets done. I'm talking mostly about the UK here because I can. And so to kind of undo that, it's like people trying to red pill people now. It's like, well, good luck. Seriously, what are you talking about? Like, I know what you're trying to say, but this is such a personal thing that we're going through. I know it's en masse, and it's all very James Redfield and Celestine prophecy, where there's that critical mass, and I'll kind of go there. That makes some sense.
Sorry, Jeff, but I totally resonate with what you're saying, and I think we are experiencing it en masse, but we have to, at the same time, coinciding with that, we have to it's a personal journey as well, coinciding with the collective en masse. So it's a personal journey that we're on, and we have to step into our light, step into our power, use our voices, stand up, be united, and come together collectively. And that's where we need to work individually and collectively, because the collective is happening whether we are trying to do it or not. We can, so it's the collective happens spontaneously. We have no control over the collective. We do, however, have control over ourselves and our personal journey, and letting go of the bullshit and the nonsense, and moving forward and standing in our power, and not acquiescing or allowing anyone outside of our own energy field to dictate to us or tell us or insist that we do take vaccines, or that we mask, or that we do anything that goes against our God source and what we believe. So I'm just ranting here, I'm sorry.
No, I'll go with that. At the same time, you got to look at what's in people's faces, literally. And this whole thing is very complex. And I work with young people, and you'll have a bunch of people for all the right reasons that want to look after people and be safe and stuff. And it's actually meant, so they'll wear a mask because they've got to be at college and work and things like this and do their thing. And if that's something you kind of want to do on the basis of where we're at, well, fine. There's no real issue. And then you'll have other people jumping in going, oh, well, wear a mask and stuff, and you're breathing in your own dead air. And I totally agree. Of course you are. You put your hand over your mouth and just keep breathing. It's going to get a little clammy and hard work. At the same time, there's that practicality of, well, because there's no clear-cut scenario, is this thing real or not, or what? There seems to be many different things getting played out at the same time, because you can read some stats which say, well, yeah, of course, clearly, and it's killing everyone. And then you can read stats that go, mate, you're talking about 0.0026% of the world's population having been taken out by this. And it's like, well, where are we at? So to be honest, it gets so personal. I think most of this seems to be about respecting where people are coming from, as long as people aren't kind of barking at each other, which definitely seems to be happening in the main as far as what I see, then good, because you're going to find that all humans are extremely different in their rollout anyway, whether they're wearing a mask or not. And this is about one subject matter, bringing people together, that could be a heck of a lot worse than it actually is. I don't see any painted crosses on doors and people saying, bring out your dead, Well, it's not.
Yeah.
I see zero of that in my locality with my eyes, and not looking at like news and bits and bobs, which I stopped looking at years ago, in all honesty. Don't get me wrong, I get news from, I don't know, a lot of people that still do. But I use those scenarios quite nicely, I think. Get rid of the fear porn, and you'll find that you're not so scared about things. You can then look around your locality, which is your economy, not a nation economy. It's yours, your people. And how are they? Okay, well, someone probably knows someone that suffered somewhere with this thing, and it's fickle at best, but it's sad that someone's gone. People go all the time. As far as I'm concerned, you better learn how to die early on, because that's guaranteed. As soon as you pop out a mum, that's happening. And it might happen now or now or now. So it's really good to do your homework in that scenario, because then it's actually a bit like taking full responsibility for everything that happens here, and happens here. Is because that equates to freedom. As soon as you have that self-responsibility, you get to make those choices because you're way more in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
So actually, anything that's external of the world, and here we go with some Greg Braden goodness, is that, well, it's a reflection of you. So regardless of the scenario, so as far as I'm concerned, it's mind training, it's heart opening, and the subject matters, because let's be honest, if it wasn't this whole corona job, then let's say we're all inundated with mosquitoes. Let's say we had a huge mosquito problem everywhere in the world, everywhere. It's just one subject matter. Oh, but there's babies dying here, there, and everywhere from, well, all right, okay, look after each other, here they come. How are we going to deal with it? Well, it's going to be confusing. What I'm saying is that it doesn't matter what the subject matter is. Use what is happening, because some people are trying to manipulate that scenario for their nefarious ends and means. Go check out Greg Carlwood's The Higher Side Chats podcast. Boys on fire, as far as I'm concerned. With getting
that Joff, Greg?
That's Greg Carlwood, THC, so The Higher Side Chats. And as far as I'm concerned, how he goes about working with his guests is unsurpassed. I've had him on. I was so lucky to have him on LifeWise Radio a couple of shows back. Anyway,
can I just say, for our listeners viewing, where can they find that if they want to go and watch it? Okay, you'll find LifeWise Radio. You can go through the website, in all honesty, so lifewisecollective.com. But you'll find that's a journey in itself. But LifeWise Radio show is on the News for the Soul network, which is Canadian based, but it gets rolled out obviously around in the globe and on every format you can imagine. It's a mostly US kind of audience. But at the same time, like I said, it's a global scenario, and it's a massive network run by Nicole Whitney, who's awesome. She has some amazing people on. All the people I've mentioned really already, and there's like Uri Geller and other people who are amazing in their fields, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm fortunate enough to have a show on the News for the Soul network. So that gets rolled out live once a month, every third Thursday of the month, 10 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. PST. But like I said, the links and stuff, Carol, if you're nice enough to put those footnotes and stuff, then that's kind of cool. Yeah, please either Facebook message me or email me, and I'll put all the links up on the YouTube. I've still got loads of questions for you. Oh, by all means, this is great. So I know it's really great to connect with you. But I found this little because I like to I forget the words now. I like to scour the beach, but so I found this in Portsmouth. That's not turquoise, right? I found this on the beach. And these grooves here, you've got the lines, you've got two lines going down and one across. You can feel where they've been engraved or indented. They're actually, you can feel them go in. And I just thought it was really unusual. Yeah, it's an awesome stone. Yeah. Yeah, good find. A little rock. But I don't know what it is. There's something to it that is quite unusual, because where would you find a rock where you can actually feel the grooves in the lines? It depends on what the rest of it is. To me, then that's kind of like, I don't know, because there's a rock I found which is kind of similar, and it like the fossil of like an octopus or squid, because you can see the tentacles real clear. But I'm only sort of speculating here as far as your rock there is concerned. But it's cool. It's nice. Yeah. Is it just like
because I thought it was turquoise first of all, but that's the light, obviously. But is it kind of flinty or not?
No, it's just a rock. It's just a little stone.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a little stone. It's not crystal or anything. But I just thought it was really, really unusual with the lines going in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
I might
Yeah, good finds. Yeah, like finds. Have I got things?
Yeah, I love scouring the beach. I think beach combing it's called, or beach.
Yeah, we love a bit of beach combing. I'll have to show you my favourite guy. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's why not.
Yeah, so for anyone listening, for our viewers listening, please come and join one of my Facebook groups. Is called The Great Awakening of Humanity 2020. And there's some really good information out there that people have been uploading to the group. And please come and like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Carol Noonan. Okay, over to you, Joff.
Meet Smokey. Yay.
Wow.
This guy, look at that. Wow. Bam, bam, bam. Looks like he's been shot, but he hasn't. It's fine. Yeah. Agate. And I wonder why I was kind of drawn to that. So it's a very Gemini stone. But yeah, they'd make crystal skulls as to for the human to be able to communicate with more intent. Was one of the understandings of which I really love. Actually, it looked like it could be kind of freaky at the same time. What a guy! Isn't that amazing?
No, that's really cool. I've got a bit of an interesting story about crystal skulls, because when I began channeling the Pleiadians consciously, I'd actually sent, and just before that, I'd actually been sent an email by a guy who I thought was a bit crazy at the time. I've come to realize he's not at all. He's just very awake, aware, and conscious, and very intuitive, and obviously getting messages. So I was sent this guy. I was sent an email from this guy who I didn't know, and he's called Joshua Shapiro, and you've probably heard of him, but he does the crystal skulls in America. He's known as the Crystal Skull Explorer. So I was sent this email by him, and I didn't know him from Adam. I didn't know him at all. And he said in the email, and he kind of opened a door for me where I was able to channel the Pleiadians consciously after he contacted me. So it was like a catapult, really, or a catalyst for me. But he said in the email, he said, and this is years ago, 2009, 2010, that we should work, that he felt drawn to me and that we should work together, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm planning to have him on one of my shows soon. So yeah, that was interesting. And then, yeah, but you probably know more about the crystal skulls than I do, John.
Oh no, all I know is that they have an intelligence, and that is privy to certain people, and they're dotted around the world, and there's messages there, but it's similar like messages from like the Nine and the Pleiadians and stuff, and it's about like, and like the Z's and the Theo group, and these different sort of entities that are all so positive in the message. This is the thing that kind of gets me. It's like I need to come back to this in a second. I need to scribble this down. That linking then in with the crystal skulls, it's a case of, we're coming into very interesting times. Yeah, I sort of discussed the great year, but basically how we're coming into Aquarius, and some would say we're firmly in that now. I'd say it feels like change. So yeah, why not? Yeah, where the prophetic stories coming from such strange sources for the average person are kind of, it's twofold for me. It's not like they're just coming to the front, because it seems that is definitely the case. But the message is what I'm finding is really important, because regardless of the story, let's be honest, anyone can make anything up. But the stories are they're beautiful, they're very uplifting, and they're defined and refined. And I don't have a problem with that. So I used to think, actually, I kind of still do to a point because I love playing with this, is that how do you know the person saying what they think they're saying? I don't. So how do I know what you're going through, Carol, and others, is genuine, legit for you? And then you're telling that to me and others, and those with the ears to hear and the rest of it will go, oh, okay, cool. And, and that'll trigger something themselves. It's not necessarily about a following, it's about a message.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then that's the thing that keeps coming back to me is, look, it doesn't matter who says what, because you don't even have to. I mean, discernment's a big part of it. Obviously, you're not a mug for everyone, but listen to the message, what's being said, not necessarily who's saying it. I've learned that about myself. I've tried to not deny what's been going on with me, but it took me a long time just to go, look, Joff, get back to you. Honestly, go for a skate, go see your friends, crack open a beer, just go in the woods, like spend the night in a hammock and make a fire. I love going out into the woods. I'm a nature guy, but to get that self back, which seemed kind of frivolous actually, when actually I've been fully chucked down a weird wormhole. These things are really, really important. Ultimately, the message, what's being said, how do you feel about that? Because now you can put that to anyone's words, Muhammad's words, Zoroastra's words, Jesus's words, the Buddha's words. Well, the Buddha just means awakened, aware. Well, how about that? We're all that anyway. All right. Okay. So you go through these levels of understanding where actually what I like to do is within a conversation of about an hour and a bit, you go from me and my woes and my worries to you don't know how much of an infinite being you are. And actually, it's not that difficult. So yeah, I love making the complex kind of useful for people, in all honesty. Not for the big whoop, look at me show. It's more the, no, we deserve to, and now it's important to understand just what is up for grabs and how little you know. Really, you've been scratching around for survival, and we're being told to be prepared for thrival, but we don't know really what that is. So once again, looking at what the channels are saying, what these beautiful people are saying through the messages that come through, yeah, they look kind of weird talking to nothing. At the same time, the messages are beautiful. What's your problem? And yet you'd rather look at, I'm talking very generally here, someone in a suit on a square box, tell a vision, looking at a program.
But that is programming, isn't it? I mean, they're being
well, of course it is, 100%, 100%. And people say, as our entertainment, lighten up, man. And I'm like, look, yeah, of course, I'm good with that too. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch whatever I want to watch, like I said before, in order to reset myself. And I know that it's frivolous tosh, really, but this persona loves that stuff. So I'll watch some skating, I'll watch some music stuff or what have you. I think it's actually vital that you do. At the same time, we're in a different space.
But I think what you're saying is really important, Joff. Not just individually, but also collectively. That's what. So individually, we need to be turning off the news and going to the beach or going skating or going, horse riding and spending time in nature and just coming back to ourselves and what we can do and our own space, and bring it back to you and how you're coping with what's going on with the pandemic and in the world, because it's really a shit show. It's a shit show, and we just need to look after ourselves and love each other with action. We need to be love in motion, energy in motion. And there's so many other things I would like to talk to you about, but I know the time's getting on, and I'm just hoping that we could do this again and continue with all the stuff that we haven't said or gone over or asked each other or.
Yeah, by all means. Like I said, I'm an open book, and I didn't know how long we were kind of going to go today, so I know what I can be like, so I don't want to go down too many sort of like side alleys. But yes, yeah, I'm happy to come back. I mean, if people find value in this, then that's great, and that's important. And yeah, happy to be of some sort of support. And now's a great time for that too. So yeah, happy to help. But if you've got any more sort of like questions and such, then great. And if not, and we're just kind of going how we're going, then we can carry on that flow. But what do you think?
Yes, I was going to ask you about Trump, because I've got my own understanding or belief or feeling. It's more of a feeling of where he's at the moment. I know he's been diagnosed with a health condition recently. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So my belief is that he's fine, that he's away somewhere in hiding, I guess you could call it, and that he's fine, and that he's going to come out with hydroxychloroquine. I think it's called hydroxychloroquine as a remedy, that he's been cured with that or another remedy. But I think he's fine. I don't think there's anything to worry about. But what's your take on it?
On what? On
Trump having been diagnosed with this health condition?
Oh, yeah, again, it's not going to be a straightforward thing. It's a bit like Q, it's a bit like Majestic 12, it's a bit like any of the stuff that's not me and what I actually know that's in my front room of my life. The rest of that comes down to speculation, opinion, and I don't have people on the inside and stuff like that. So that being said, what it feels like, because a lot of this comes down to pattern, and knowing how these players have been playing and who's not been about actually in the main, and who's said to have gone on a permanent holiday in certain places, Guantanamo and such, you're left to go, right, it's ramping up some more. And this whole earthquake thing the other week comes into this as well. So I'm just going to scribble that down before we
was
go.
Was that in the UK? There was a couple of reports.
Yeah, I was just down my road. I'll come back to that, because that's a cool one. You said about sort of like Trump and this COVID-19 scenario. I'm with you. It's not going to be clear cut. Is he going to come out with, actually, yeah, I'm all right and I got better really quick because of hydroxychloroquine? Yeah, quite possibly. That makes a lot of sense. Nothing is clear cut. Trust me. Not even when it says, just trust the plan. What plan? Like, look, I'm hearing you, and we're supposed to like know that there's good stuff happening, and actually, that character Trump, and look at the names that happen. It's almost like Lovecraft. I thought this earlier today. It's like Lovecraft. Only one of the biggest people in that world, and your surname is Lovecraft. Like crafting the love scenario and things like this, and you got like Weinstein with his little wiener and stuff like this going down for like pedo stuff, this, that, and the other, and it's like, you couldn't write this stuff, in all honesty. And then there's a character called Trump who comes in at some point to do what? Well, Trump card, dude. Like, what does it look like? And this, like, life does poetry far better than what we can end up talking about the nitty gritty with. And that's the stuff I look at, and I'm just flabbergoggled, because it's like, you don't have to do anything after that. You just kind of monitor the situation. So there's a part of me that does that.
Can I just add to that, Joff? Because years ago, I mean, vocabulary and language has a lot to do with it, because we are being played in several different ways. And one way we're absolutely being played with is language.
Oh yeah.
For example, Cain and Abel,
Mm-hmm.
cannibal in the Bible. And so that's a very obvious one, but also like if
there's heaps. There's independence.
Heaps.
That's another one. That
Yeah.
was another one of mine, which I
Yeah.
don't really use. Saying good morning every morning. There's nothing sort of like good about morning. I've got a lot of love for. There's a lady called Laurel Erica. Oh, please check her stuff out. The lady is an absolute genius in this department.
Can you spell her name out?
Yeah, Laurel Erica. So Laurel. Erica is AIRICA. She's epic. She's so cool. Fortunate to have her on the show as well, actually, not because this is a look at me thing. It was just she's so good.
It's the information. That's really what it's about. It's the information.
Yeah. At the same time, you've got to look at the person's story, because obviously that's then the conditioning which they've had through their childhood. And these are young people I deal with all the time, not Laurel, because she's not one of my young people.
Well, maybe you should have her on your show. Maybe you should.
She's been on the show.
Oh, she has.
Yeah, she has. She's epic. Yeah, we're in quite close sort of contact and cahoots these days, which is kind of cool.
That's good.
But we're talking about like words and playing with words, and one of mine that I bumped into was sort of independence. So you think you have this independence, and we know what that means, or we know what we think that means. Well, then you're in dependence of somebody else. So really, you're talking about self-reliance is really what you're trying to get at. So yeah, it's being careful with these words that we say, knowing that the English language was one of the last Euro languages to be created. And man, it's caused, okay, there's some beautiful stuff there. At the same time, it's interesting when there's plenty of words, like the week, days of the week, weak and strong. And then at the end of this week, you are weekend, so you have these 2 days at the end of your 5 days where you've gone through the week. And by the time you get to Saturday, you're knackered, and that's your weekend in order for you to start again on Monday. Well, at the same time, there's a concept there. Does that have to be your life in the way you look at it? No. Is that what it's been named? Is there a play being rolled out here for the misuse of humankind? Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. But now that you know that, do you have to live by that? No. Just change your words.
You have
and live differently. You won't hear me say good morning. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do that. I no longer either say to people when they say to me, they go, good morning. And I go, nope. I don't do that anymore either. It's just more a case of, sorry?
No, sorry, Joff. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
No, it's good.
One word I will never say anymore is amen. I will not say it. And you get all these posts on Facebook. Say amen, 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 amen. Because you're giving your power away. And I heard the other day from Spirit or wherever it was coming from. It should be amen, not amen.
Amen. I like that. I think ultimately, as soon as some of these little bits pop in, this is what makes it less Pleiadian, because most people do not get what you get. And there's part of me that goes,
I've always been a bit odd.
I've really tried looking up in the skies and stuff, and nothing like so. Yet your life is not separate from the whole. So this is this experience, and you get to. So what I find really, really helps are these little tidbits which you can actually do something about. And one of them is wording, which is a beautiful thing. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, you change everything. You just do it really, really slowly in your own time. But wording is a great one. And aggression, like for me, that's one thing at the moment, is to know in thought and in action what is even slightly aggressive, and then going, well, why is that? Because to be honest, it's just kind of winding me up about something I can't quite pinpoint yet. So then you're able to stop yourself in this scenario, go, okay, what is it? What I do know is the reaction of aggression is not really helping anyone. So I will adapt that now and see what happens. And for me, that's the stuff that is vital for people to do. Yeah, actually, because then you're talking about this refinement in your life, which then doesn't mean you can get kind of really carried away and then blame somebody else for your reaction. So that's the mind training. And that's what I work with people one-to-one on, largely because I'm doing it myself constantly. And then actually that spills out into every other angles of life. Water that I know that is, I call it God juice, that you can actually talk to, be with, and you can imprint your good stuff on that. You can actually put your energies into this. You can do this yourself. Just have your hands either way. Breathe 4-4, so breathe in 4, exhale 4, and you can feel it coming out of your hands. Just put some nice intent there. Just, you know, I wish you well. Thanks for being here. That's great. You will improve for real, in real time. You will improve the quality, and that's going to go in you. So then you're thinking, oh my, okay. Maybe then it's worth maybe getting a water filter, then doing that as well. Maybe it's worth putting a little crystal in this. If you know what a little crystal does, what type of crystal is good, what do you definitely don't be putting just anything in there, because if you put in certain stones, you'll know that you're not on the planet very much longer. So yeah, don't put largely blue and green, high copper content. Let's not go with that one. Do your homework, basically. But there's some ways that you can refine yourself in everything you do, which then this now time is all about. It's very gentle, and it's going to save you getting when you find out that for the last 7,000 years you've been played hard, and there's no actual, well, some people would say you can't just get rid of one societal setup and start another one, not without mass fallout. So it's got to be done exceptionally well in order to help folk who haven't quite got it yet. But if you know to improve little bits in your life because it feels right, that's where we start, I think. Yeah,
it starts with us individually, you know.
Constantly.
Healing the water. And this is science for anyone listening that is skeptical. This is science, you know.
It is.
Water has memory, it's conscious.
Yep. It's crystal, that's liquid crystal right there.
Yeah, so anyone listening that is skeptical, I don't like using the word skeptical, but is over analyzing, or has been really gone through the education, the school education system, and really been dumbed down and manipulated, start questioning things, because we have been weaponized. Our water, our skies, the earth, everything has been weaponized against us. And when you go into a supermarket these days, that everything is toxic. Everything in the supermarket is toxic. Anything that's mass produced is not good for us, even if it was originally. So yeah. So I'd
agree. At every angle there is, there's also the argument that we're living longer, better than previously, and I'd agree with that too. I think the point is to, I think as soon as you do your homework in this bit, what you're saying, that the whole system's been poisoned, I totally agree. And it's all about then frequency, that we're not allowed to be the frequency we are, knowing that we are of sound, light and vibration. That's pretty much it, because everything else disappears. That then if you're starting from that kind of a basis, then it makes sense to kind of improve this vehicle that's roaming around the earth. So okay, what is that? Well, just get moving. Don't intake more than what your output is. Makes sense to me. It doesn't say don't enjoy cake and the odd packet of M&Ms or whatever. It just means that you don't have to go nuts for it in order to feel really bad, in order to justify that, because then that's taking away the responsibility.
It's about
blaming round trees. It's not about that. It's about you and your monitoring of stuff. So at the same time, there's this beautiful scenario. At the same time, it's still you living in it. If you're not doing your own homework, you're going to have a really bad time here, where you're used to this awful state, which the majority are in, and most people don't want to work 5 days in order to have 2 days off, no matter what you call them. That makes no sense. Zero. I don't know, there's too much in the world that I'd change, but at the same time, it is. So I'm just bumping into wonderful people like yourself, Carol. People who do the mystical as well as the scientific, like real scientific approach. Yeah. Then I don't think you can go far wrong, in all honesty, because you're so open, yet you know that through a scientific approach and your discernment that it's your refined journey. It just really helps to improve the actual physical vehicle, which actually in the main I believe we're genuinely doing. And if we're not doing it, we know that we're not doing it, and we're eating cake anyway. Well, that's your choice. It's fine. Crack on. Oh, we said about Trump, didn't we? He's all right.
Yeah, I believe he's I've had some experiences with him on the astral, and real experiences, and I believe that he's a good guy. I believe he's a light worker, very much believe that. And I'm not into politics. I've never voted ever, and I just don't do politics because it's BS as far as I'm concerned. But I believe that he was what's the word, designated perhaps, and put into that position, or offered that position, and I believe he didn't really want to take it. I don't really like going into, you know, I don't really like talking about him a lot, because I think it's important that, because a lot of people, a lot of psychics and mediums and way showers and light workers and channels have been given information about him. And I think we need to be careful with when we have, with what we say, because we don't want to give the game away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he's absolutely a light worker. There's so much I could talk to you about, Joff. I also wanted to mention a book that would be really good for you is, and everyone listening as well, is The New Human by Mary Rodwell. It's an amazing book. It's really, really good. When I read it, it just opened me up to a whole nother level where I was able to a self-acceptance within myself of who I am and why I'm here and where I'm going, to a whole new level. So it's a great book. I really recommend that. And also the 21st of December, check out Stephen Strong about the 21st of December. He is a guy in Australia who is doing some amazing work. He's very down to earth. He's very humble. Yeah, and he's just an amazing guy. His knowledge and the work he's been doing, and I believe he goes on digs and finds things and like skulls and objects and all kinds of stuff. But he's got a lot to say about the 21st of December, which is reportedly when we're going into the age of Aquarius, the new age of Aquarius. So that's the date he's giving. But he's also, there's something I want to look into a bit more as well, because there's meant to be a Pleiadian connection. He's talking about a box and having, I think, I don't think it's an actual box. I think it's more technology, but he's talking about the Pleiadian connection. So that's something I'm going to be asking them. And I might even ask him, well, I'm definitely going to ask him to be on my show, because I really want to connect in with him more. But just amazing guy. So he's Stephen Strong. And yeah, is there anything, please let's do this again, Joff. Is there anything, words of wisdom you want to share with people listening? And please do share your website and all your links and everything, and send them to me as well in a message, and I will put them up onto YouTube.
Yeah, okay, wonderful, thank you. Yeah, mostly don't believe the hype, look after each other, be nice. In order to keep up with the energies that are here is take some time for yourself. Practical little steps, but anything that means you can kind of reset the self often. What I like to do, real simple, is just any new change of a thing you're doing is just take a minute or two out, even if it's actually just a couple of deep breaths, and just stop and then do the thing. I would hugely recommend, because we're so used to go, 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 even going to bed now. Yeah. It's a case of start to live in the presence of yourself, and that's give yourself a break, give yourself some time, because no one else is going to do it for you. So if there's any little words of wisdom there, it's then really look after yourself, not stay safe. I couldn't give a monkey's about that, in all honesty, because as soon as you pop out of mum, you're about as safe as a human is, which is not very, to be honest. So live your life, don't live it for somebody else. I mean, be nice. That's just default setting. Don't make it a big thing. Who cares? Big whoop. Sorry, high horse there. Is more to the point, is just, it's your self-growth is what you're about. And then by default, you radiate this light, this way of being, and you will see it improve in your epigenetical setup, your environment. And that will change your life. And that is then in keeping with these energies of now, because pick a side, in all honesty. Pick a side. But no, it's one that's genuine to you. Most people would choose that peaceful, caring, community, connective side of things. As far as my work is concerned, well, it's LifeWise Collective. It's a consciousness education platform. I work one-to-one mostly with folk. So feel free to get in contact. Email is Joff, Joff, at LifeWise, LIFEWISE collective.com. Website of the same name. And on there you'll see other links as well. And feel free to get in contact. To be honest, I'm more of a communicative kind of guy. There's other things which I'm well involved with. I've got another group called the Big Earth Show, which was basically looking at the weirdness of what's happened over the last year, actually. And I just went, well, gee, it's the Big Earth Show. Like, you cannot literally just give me one country's thing and go, well, that's normal, because it, like, oh, it never was, but it's even more nuts at the moment. So it's really fascinating to watch. So I've got a bunch of people from around the world who are on this group. It's quite a small group, actually, but.
And what's the group itself?
It's called the Big Earth Show. So if you want to get involved in that, just message me, because that's just not that's an invite thing, in all honesty, because the people on there have to represent the kind of group and what then that's about. I've got a LifeWise group also, and then that is about then self-betterment, in all honesty. It's about that connectivity of people, so it gets a less on the political Big Earth Show side of things and more about our growth, genuinely, steps to what you do. Well, what do you do? You know, and we help each other out, I guess, and bounce off each other quite a lot. Again, people from all over the world. So that's really pretty cool. So yeah, many other bits and bobs going on, in all honesty, because it's a fun time. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You literally can't pick a side of life that it's not happening, that's not getting examined on. It feels like it's pretty intense, and I've really tried very hard in this interview, this show, to try and focus and refine what I'm saying, and for me it's quite tricky, in all honesty. So yeah,
and everything is interconnected. Everything that's happening on Earth at the moment, I mean, it's vast. There's so much going on, and there's a lot of big bullshit going on as well, and everything is interconnected. I saw a picture when we were at Rourke's in his conservatory, and it's a great picture. It's a great image. It's just of circles, and then you've got different words in all the circles. So it's just showing how everything is interconnected, like COVID-19 and the masks and George Floyd and all kinds of stuff. I'd really like to get a copy of that. I must ask him about it. So, and also please the notes that you've made tonight, can we, if you keep them and maybe add to it for next time, because I've got a terrible memory. I always forget a lot of stuff that's important. So for everyone listening, please like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon on YouTube to be notified of future interviews and discussions and shows, etc. And I'd just like to say a big fat thank you to Joff Talbot for being my guest tonight. It's been really great. Yeah, it's been really great. Thank you so much. It's flowed really nicely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you for having me, and I hope people have got something from the last little piece of time. Yeah, just be nice, be good to yourself, eh? Thanks for having me, Carol, and so awesome to kind of meet and bump into like-minded yet different yet exactly the same kind of peoples. It's an adventure of a lifetime, it really is, and embracing this side of things I can only recommend, because just like, and I said this at the very beginning, that we can only see 2% of everything with our human eyes. You know, the senses we have they're filters that filter out our usness in order to have a human experience. And so this helps tap this kind of work and these realms that you feel helps tap into the rest of that wholly vibrant 98% that actually has naff all to do with COVID-19, thankfully.
Yeah. Well said, Joff. Well said. Yeah, I couldn't have worded it better myself. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
And look forward to doing more with you. And
yeah, indeed. And we'll be having Carol on well, actually, it's on the 15th, I believe, of this month, wasn't it? I believe.
Is it the 15th? I put it in my diary, which is over there.
Yeah, I've got it written down. So yeah, Carol will be on LifeWise Radio. So I'll be chucking it back her way, and it'll be about the Pleiadian connection, because I'm kind of gobsmacked, like I said, being well, not having that experience. It's kind of to have someone to talk about that would be pretty cool. So that's the 15th of October. Yeah, and the details will come up, and I'll give you some promo stuff that you can put up at some point.
Great, thank you, Joff.
And thank you for having me so much. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been really great. Thank you. And really feeling your energy and loving it. So, which is quite new to me. Not new to me in the sense, because I do feel energy, but new to me in the sense that you're able to feel that it's like you're in the room. It's like you're in the room, even though it's over the internet. So that is new to me, you know, working online and doing the shows and stuff. So listen, I better stop talking and go and have some tea. And I shall see you very soon. All my love to you and your family. And till next time, signing out. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye all.